Welcome everyone. My name is Tiffany, and as you can see, I will be talking about the effects of wearing basic running shoes compared to bare feet on ground reaction force. Leg injuries are mainly caused by high impact landings and greatly affect the knee and ankle. The knee in particular is always under a lot of stress, especially when it comes to landing, but it still needs to support the body, which is why it is called the primary shock absorber. Leg injuries mainly occur when someone performs an incorrect landing technique. Female athletes, for example, have been known to damage their anterior cruciate ligament, which is this ligament right here. This painful injury is from quick direction changes and results in tears in the ligament. Footwear can prevent an injury, improve sporting performance, and reduce shock impacts. Many different types of shoes have been tested to identify how they reduce ground reaction force. A study looked at cloth shoes, running shoes, basketball shoes, and cross-training shoes and found that running shoes are an ideal choice as 22% of impact is reduced. Dancing sports, like ballet, also undergo high impact landings. Walter and his colleagues in 2011 investigated the difference between flat shoes compared to point shoes and discovered that flat shoes significantly increase ground reaction force. With this highlighted, it is clear that shoes play a vital role in ground reaction force and definitely influences the overall result. Therefore, the aim of this study was to identify the differences between basic running shoes and bare feet on ground reaction force. It was hypothesized that running shoes will greatly reduce the force. 5 male and 7 female adults volunteered for a cross-sectional study at the Central Queensland University. Each individual gave consent and was informed of the risks and how to operate all the equipment before the experiment took place. The demographic information of all the participants was collected and recorded in an Excel document. This information included their age, height, and weight. Furthermore, 4 considerations were made before the study began to ensure the investigation was accurate and consistent. Firstly, the participant order was set to reflect the order represented in the demographic information. Secondly, a randomized method using 2 identical pieces of paper inscribed with left and right was placed face down on a bench to determine the starting leg. Thirdly, the roles to operate the BP 800-400 force plate software, compute the findings, and analyze the stepping technique of the wooden box, which was 40 centimeters in height, were voluntarily given. Finally, a successful step was set and needed to indicate that the participant did not dip, hop, or jump off the box. In addition to this, no retrials were given unless an error occurred in the empty software. The participants completed 2 rotations, first with shoes and secondly without shoes. Furthermore, socks were an option to wear when testing with bare feet. The starting leg was determined by the randomized method and recorded with the demographic information for the participant. The participant then stood on the wooden box, facing the force plate anatomically, feet flat together and arms by the sides. The testing leg was then flexed behind 45 degrees and then extended forward to step onto the force plate. A countdown from 3 began by the person operating the software. The software began to record on the second countdown and the participant stepped onto the force plate after the first countdown. This process was completed straight away for the opposite leg and then the next participant followed. The vertical ground reaction force for both left and right legs with and without footwear was recorded with the demographic information. A paired two-sample for means t-test using the analysis toolpack in Excel was used to compare the male and female differences in ground reaction force. The alpha level was set as 0.05, indicating 95% level of confidence. The results from the following investigation revealed that no significant differences occurred between running shoes and bare feet on ground reaction force for both genders. A significant difference did occur for the male participants when comparing the left and right limbs for bare feet. Here this figure is a representation of the overall ground reaction force for the female participants. This figure is also a representation of the overall vertical ground reaction force, but for the male participants. As mentioned before, a significant difference was found only for the male participants. A recent study was conducted and found a correlation between high impact landings and individuals with flat feet, which could indicate why a difference did occur with the male participants. However, this assumption is limited due to the fact that the investigation at hand did not take into account flat and normal feet characteristics. Following this, finding no significant difference between footwear and bare feet was not expected, and this did not support the hypothesis. However, a study compared racing flats, running shoes, and spikes and found that flats exhibit greater peak force. This result can confirm that although no differences occurred in the study, wearing shoes can in fact reduce ground reaction force. However, shoes deteriorate after a long period of time, and this was confirmed by a study which found that after long distance runnings of 300 kilometers, the cushioning in the shoes lost its effectiveness. So the aim of the study was to identify the differences between footwear and bare feet on ground reaction force. After conducting the investigation and performing a statistical analysis, no significant differences were found for bare feet and footwear. However, a significant difference did occur for the male participants when comparing left and right bare feet data results. For future practical implications, this study could be useful in injury prevention programs. However, more specific attention should be given about the type of footwear being tested, as this study was limited by shoe accessibility.